Good evening, everyone. Here we are live from virtual Daytona International Speedway for the iRysa Racing Round 2 of its GT3 Championship here. I'm presented with Jose Cabrera. My name is Anthony Azar. We will be hosting tonight's show. Jose, what are we looking forward to see at this very prestigious racetrack here tonight?
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's stream presented by ASiMRacing Network. Today we're at Daytona. It's going to be a night race tonight in the GT3 cars. I'm seeing a lot of Ferraris and a lot of the Mercedes tonight. So a couple of things that we're going to look for tonight is how are the drivers going to manage the night race. It's going to be the legacy version of the track, so it's going to be a little bit darker in terms of lighting for the track tonight. And it's going to be particularly interesting at the bus stop with very little visibility, but it's part of the challenge, so it's going to be a very interesting race tonight.
Definitely. In addition to that, it is the pre-surfaced version of the track, so it'll be a little bit more bumpier than usual. Definitely something drivers have to take into consideration when going through certain turns around the track here, as it may upset the car prematurely. But as we look at that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at practice here. Got about 7 minutes remaining on the clock. Looks like we've got a Ferrari here going down the apron of NASCAR 3 and 4. White Ferrari. And he's back underway, back on the banking. Judging by the colors here, that looks like Eduardo Pecorini here. Looks like he's opted to go to the Audi R8 LMS this time around instead of the Mercedes GT3.
And if you can just give me just a few seconds here, Anthony, I'm working on getting you this race information put up here, just having a little bit of an issue here.
Just last week, there was a local race, a 14-hour local race in Daytona National Speedway. That's why we have chosen to do the virtual race this week here to just go ahead and keep the familiarity here fresh amongst the drivers for those that did participate in the series.
Yeah, and I think that Daytona being such a iconic track, and not only such an iconic track in motorsport, I think it's an iconic track to most of us here. Being that we're all from Florida, being that Daytona is so close to home, I think that Daytona, no matter where we put it on the calendar, I think drivers look forward to it.
I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the drivers we have joining us here tonight. Currently on the leaderboard on my end here through my screen, we have Eduardo Pecorini leading the pack here with a 1:45.9 lap time, followed by Alessandro De Tulio, Cesar Lapointe, Ekin Vasir, and Diego Iglesias here. We still have some drivers that are still going warming up. R.C. Anderson, our previous race champion, is one of them. He is here tonight with us in Ferrari 458. Did you? What did you do? Okay, we're back. Thank you for patiently waiting here. We're solving a brief technical issue here, but we're back and we're good to go for the remainder of the night. So currently we saw here the practice ended. I believe Pecorini was on top. Now we're going to get underway and go through qualifying and see where our drivers will set the grid for night's first race of the evening here. So the way we goes is we have a lone qualifying setup here.
Ready to take to overtake. Excuse me. We have to control how much draft we can give drivers because the advantage can be quite tremendous here.
Absolutely, Jose. Just want to give a quick shout out to all 15 of you watching here now, and also Carmen the Iglesias here, probably a family member of the Iglesias brothers, showing her support here for the brothers here as well. Like as always, if you like what you see here, please like and subscribe and share amongst your friends. We are the Sim Racing Network here. We're looking to get bigger and better. We've got some great content for you guys in store for you in the near future. Something that most and a lap time here around Daytona road course does take about a minute. Close pushing it to about 2. We've got about 3 minutes gone by so far here. So currently we should be about to see the first lap any second now appearing on our screen.
And I'm sure drivers will be taking a little bit of fuel out of their cars tonight just to try to gain any kind of advantage. Looks like Emil Fittipaldi Jr. is putting on the first lap time tonight with a 146.6. So as I was saying, I think that they'll be taking out a little bit of fuel just to try to gain a little bit of a weight advantage. Specifically, right into turn one, we really want to control that weight transfer because it's very easy to go wide and lose a lot of time into turn one. So we really want to control the braking zone there. So we have a bunch more times coming in. Looks like Beckham Jasir with a 147.5 in P2, Francisco Crecia in P3 with a 147.8. Bobby Ross with a 148.3, and Frankie Barroso with a 149.1. That was your top five. Looks like Eduardo Pecorini now with a 146.4, pushing Emil Fittipaldi down to P2. Anthony?
We've got a very broad variety here of cars this time around. Looks like some drivers have opted to use the Ferrari a little less than last week in our race at Coda. And it seems like there's a good mix now amongst Audis.
And just to touch base on those four GTs, it's actually the Piero brothers in two of the four GTs on the grid tonight.
Look at that. Let's see, first and second are very tightly close together with about only a tenth of a difference here. But then soon thereafter, you have Beckham Jasir and his own little spacing of about half a second. But then it's a tightly packed group from fourth to eighth here, about a second, a tenth within each other from the rest of the group here. So it'd be, and I think Jerry did improve his lap just now. He was one of the 2 second drivers, and he went up ahead to about 1.5. Pecorini going purple, once again staying on top of the leaderboard here, first in qualifying with about 4 minutes to go here. Jose?
And quite the large group, and this is something that I think that we've discussed before, but I think it's a valid point to touch on. The fact that Rysa has been able to gather together over 20 drivers every single night has been pretty incredible to see that um, right here on iRacing and to be able to take part of that as a sim racing network. It's a very proud. I think it's a very proud achievement from all of us.
Definitely, it's certainly a branch of its own here, trying to cross the bridge the gap amongst international and national drivers amongst the Rysa family. So, if you are interested in joining us, please contact us or Rudy if you do know him personally.
Absolutely, we do. We definitely want to grow this not only on the stream side, not only on the broadcast side, but as a network to continue connecting drivers and continue to build up you know, the best drivers that we possibly can. So absolutely feel free to reach out to us throughout any of our social media channels, and we're always here to talk. Looks like we're coming up on 8 minutes here in the qualifying session, so 2 minutes left, and we've got quite a few drivers putting down their lap times. Just a few more to go here before we get started with our first session tonight here at Daytona International Speedway.
We've got the ringleader Rudy here coming in with 4 seconds of a difference here. I'm sure he'll pick that up as soon as he comes to his second lap, probably just warming up the tires. Very smart of him.
Rudy's also, we know, as a very clean driver. Rudy tries to lead his crew by example, and while he may not be setting the fastest lap times, he definitely wants to stand out as a clean driver. So I think he always does a very good job at doing that. And coming up on the last minute here in qualifying, looks like we still have Edoardo Pecorini in P1, Emil Fittipaldi P2, Beckham Jasir P4, Cesar Lapointe P5, Jerry DiPiero in P6, Matias Orjuela in P6, Jerry DiPiero in P5, Matias Orjuela in P6, Diego Iglesias P7, Luke Bajola in P8, Bobby Ross in P9, and Francisco Crecia in P10.
Matias Orjuela coming back recently from a very eventful week at Orlando Kart Center, finishing P11 on Friday and P1 on Saturday.
Oh, great job to him. Definitely good to see that a lot of these drivers not only race together in real life, but also bringing them on here to the sim as well. As we are about to round off qualifying here and get started with our race.
Seems to me not everybody was able to put a lap together here. Only about half the field did. But regardless, here we go, getting started here with our grid for the evening. Got about a minute and 45 seconds to get through this. So let's see. Starting on pole position is Eduardo Pecorini from El Salvador. Starting second is Emil Fittipaldi Jr. here, local Miami driver. Starting third, Beckham Jasir, local Miami driver as well. Starting fourth, Cesar Lapointe coming in fourth place. Starting fifth, part of the iRysa fam, Jerry DiPiero. Starting sixth, Matias Orjuela. Starting seventh, Diego Iglesias. Starting eighth, Luke Bajola from Trinidad and Tobago. Starting ninth, Bobby Ross, another local Miami iRysa driver. Starting 10th, Francisco Crecia from El Salvador. Starting 11th, Pedro Iglesias. Starting 12th, Frankie Barroso, another Miami iRysa driver. Jose?
And in P13, we've got Xander Williams, followed by Ryan Amols in P14, followed by Robert Garcia in P15. P16, Jordan Hernandez, followed by Alejandro Arias and Rudy Ramsarub in P18. R.C. Anderson in P19 and Alessandro DeTulio in P21. Juan Arenas in P22. Tyler Delgado in P23. And George DiPiero in P24. Rounding off the field is Giovanni Meneses in P25, Franco Cipulo in P26, and Anthony Rand in P27.
And lights are out, and away we go. We've got Juan Arenas doing a little bit of some squirrel action there as he gets off the line, skating around. Got some good action here, taking two cars immediately off the line. But into turn one, we've got Beckham Jasir hitting another driver. Seems like that was Diego Iglesias. Fortunate start there for that driver. Now we're looking for them to go through here, turns 2 and 3. Relatively clean for the rest of that part of the opening lap there.
As one of the four GTs goes a little bit wide there and goes a little bit off track. Looks like he was able to bring it back on. It was a little bit of a tight pack up there to get it back on track, but it looks like everybody got through quite cleanly as one of the Mercedes. Oh no, I spoke too soon. It looks like Jerry DiPiero there went off in the 4GT. It looks like he got caught in with some of those other Mercedes.
Not enough space was giving in that mashup there. Unfortunate there for the 4GT. Now we're following here. That seems to be R.C. Anderson, our season 1 champion here. Is he 6? He is 6 currently right now. The graphic there at the bottom is not being updated. Right in front of him seems to be one of the Iglesias brothers here. That may be Pedro, and then he's got Bobby Ross right behind him fighting to keep it going here, as Anderson's got a lot of momentum coming out of the bus stop, overtaking the Audi here on the inside of NASCAR 3.
Quite the tight pack up tonight. I mean, it definitely through that infield section of Daytona. I think any time there's going to be an infield race, it's always going to be super tight the first couple of laps. Being that this is going to be a short race, I feel like it's going to be a very tight race the entire way.
Oh, one of the Ferrari cars goes wide here into turn 1. Still stays on track, no damage. And it seems like we've got a hard charger right there with Alessandro De Tullio on Bobby Ross's tail. Not giving up there as he's cutting through the remainder of the field. Seems like he's going on the inside of Ross, behind him there. But Bobby Ross is not giving up. He is not giving De Tullio an inch because he will take a mile. We see another driver here.
Give me just a few seconds to see if I can get this loaded up properly. Looks like we are doing okay. Let's see if it...
As we're looking at the grid here, your top 5. Top 5 as it stands is Eduardo Pecorini, Embo Fittipaldi Jr., R.C. Anderson, Xander Williams, and Alessandro De Tullio. And as we're looking here on screen here, the hard charger by a country mile is RC Anderson, taking a whole 22 spots. The rest of the top three here definitely doing some action here, with Fittipaldi taking 17 spots and DeTullio taking 11 spots. Very, very formidable here for the top five of our drivers. And as we're looking up, we're halfway to go with Pecorini, Fittipaldi, Anderson, DeTullio, and Williams. Jose?
Absolutely, I was going to say that definitely Fittipaldi, Anderson, and DeTullio definitely with the hard chargers coming through the field and getting the two Ferraris and that Audi through the field definitely has been quite a challenge for them, but they've made it work. We're gonna jump on board now with Frankie Barroso, see what he's up to in the Mercedes-Benz.
That's not DeTullio, that's Barroso. That's Frankie Barroso.
Yeah, unfortunately for some reason our driver details are not displaying correctly, but we are on board there with Frankie Barroso in that white Mercedes-Benz.
Got Barroso going in the inside, or trying to go on the inside of Matias Orjuela, but he was not able to do so. Wondering why. Got the Iglesias brothers there behind in 10th and 11th, trying to figure out a way to get through.
And my apologies to all the viewers that are watching on board with us right now. If you're seeing any of the technical difficulties we're having, we're just trying to work on them behind the scenes here, trying to get that fixed up for you.
Nonetheless, the action is not going anywhere. We're still about halfway to go, with Pecorini still in the lead by about 3 seconds here. Very formidable here. So we've got Iglesias going into the bus stop here on the inside of Barroso as he makes it through very clean. Oh, and he does drop a wheel, but nonetheless, it was a very successful pass for the Iglesias man. We've got a black flag for Robert Garcia. I wonder what for. That'll be up to race control to review for later. Oh, and Matias Orjuela going on the inside of a driver here into the tri-oval. Seems like that is Cesar Lapointe. Cesar not giving him any more. Oh, no, and he turns him around. Very unfortunate for Matias Orjuela.
Let's see if we can grab a quick replay of what just happened there between Orjuela and Lapointe. Looks like Lapointe just probably was in the wrong place, wrong time, and got caught out in the middle of that. Let's switch back over to our live pictures. As we run lap 5 of lap 8 here on race 1 of season 2 for the iRysa GT3 championship.
Orjuela back in his groove here as he's chasing down Pedro Iglesias. They go through the bus stop together, 1 and 2. Should I say 10th and 11th?
jumping on board our leader now with Eduardo Pecorini, as he's about 6.5 laps, and he is with a nice 6.5 second lead right now to Alessandro De Tulli. It looks like he's quite comfortable in the Audi tonight, even though given the darker conditions here tonight, that bus stop must be very complicated for these drivers. But it looks like Eduardo's very comfortable in that Audi out here at Daytona tonight. Let's see what he's going to be able to do for race 2.
Let's see an in-car camera as he approaches the bus stop now. There we go here. The lights are pretty strong in this car, very technical of it. Pitch black here as we go through the backstretch. You can still see the brake markers, but that entry point is just so dark. Nothing happened there, but that's because Pecorini does have some pretty good muscle memory. But anybody else would have some very tight difficulties here cutting through that.
And it's very easy to drop a wheel there and pick up an off track. Moving on down the field, let's see what Mr. Franco Ciapullo is doing tonight. Looks like Franco's in the number 46 Mercedes-Benz and currently running in P13. He's actually down 9 positions tonight. Let's see if he can work his way back through the field, as some of our drivers are actually starting lap 7 now of lap 8. It's going to be close. It's going to be almost here. Actually, Eduardo Pecorini is rounding up lap 7 here to come up on starting off the last lap here tonight.
Wide flag for Pecorini here. He still has a 4-second lead.
And Rudy Ramdarup, nice and comfortable in the Ferrari, sitting in P14 at the moment, as he's about 7.5 laps into his race. And looks like Eduardo Pecorini is going to be coming up and receiving the checkered flag. Looks like Eduardo Pecorini has taken P1 for our first race of the night tonight.
The rest of the top 5 will go as follows: Alessandro De Tullio, R.C. Anderson, Emmo Fittipaldi Jr., and Xander. Oh, excuse me, there was a change at the last second. Bobby Ross taking the last top 5.
And just as we get the session back up and loaded here, we'll be taking a quick break as our drivers run through their next warm-up session before we get started with our second heat tonight. Be right back.
back. Currently in our intermission phase here. That was not a bad race here. Clean racing for the most part here, with Eduardo Pecorini taking the win by a large margin. Jose, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think just a few things that race control needs to go over, but other than that, I think it was a clean race. I think that the drivers managed turn one quite well. Just a small accident there at the beginning of the race, which our race control will review. And I think that they all managed the bus stop quite well. I knew it was going to be a challenge just because of the extremely dark conditions, but they definitely ran it well.
I think we're still in the replay on the screen, aren't we?
No, we should be live right now on the warm-up phase.
Oh, I'm a little confused because it says heat on the SDK. Seems like Pecorini might even sweep the warm-up, as he's still on the lead here for the brief warm-up intermission.
Cesar Lapointe there in his Mercedes AMG tonight, just running down the back straight there on his warm-up session here, as we're about halfway done through the warm-up. Another about 4.5 minutes left here in the warm-up, and we'll get underway with our second heat tonight. Xander Williams putting in a 1:48.1 during this warm-up session. And Franco Cipolla actually with a 1:48.115. So just 4 thousandths of a second separating both of those drivers there. Looks like Franco Cipolla is parked it here just for the next few minutes as we wrap up warm-up. Looks like all the drivers are going to start getting ready to get back into race mode. And as I say that, Xander Williams still out on track, still trying to get just that little extra bit of practice before the start of the race. Another 3 minutes here until second heat tonight begins.
And we've got a question coming in from our YouTube chat. What track are y'all running tonight for LS Cruz? This is Daytona Legacy, the old version, the 2008 version, nighttime format.
And if you haven't done so already, if you don't mind giving us a quick like on the YouTube video, every single like helps out the YouTube channel, helps out grow the YouTube channel, and also helps us bring this stream to as many other viewers as possible. So Yeah, if you haven't done so already, please give us a quick like on the video. We'd really appreciate it. And Caesar Lapointe coming in with a 147.2 during this warm-up session. That's going to be a nice lap for this warm-up, as we're just about a minute and a half here away from the start of the race. And with just about 1 second here left on the warm-up, we should be receiving our grid information next few seconds here.
Okay, we've got the warm-up over and done with. We're going to get ready to see our grid for the final race of the evening here.
And let's see if it looks like it may not pop up here. Looks like we're still having some bit of an issue here, but it looks like we've got Eduardo Pecorini in P1, DeTulio in P2, R.C. Anderson in P3, Mo Fittipaldi Jr. in P4 in the Audi, and Bobby Ross in that Mercedes in P5. Xander Williams P6, Beckham Jasier in the Ferrari in P7, Luke Pajola in P8. Matias Orjuela in P9, Frankie Barroso in P10, Pedro Iglesias P11, Franco Cipulo in P12, followed by Rudy Ramsarub in the Ferrari in P13, Alejandro Arias in P14, George Zapiero in the 4GT.
They're getting ready to go.
Looks like, yeah, we are and looks like we are green.
Here we go. Seems like a very bad start for Eduardo Pecorini. He slept there. He went a couple spots down. Seems like two to 4 or 5 maybe spots as he goes down. R.C. Anderson taking full advantage here as he rides from the back of Alessandro DeTulio going through the chicane there. As they reach International, Alessandro looking on the outside to make a good exit here as he goes through the rest of the turn.
And quite the tight pack, but looks like R.C. Anderson's really trying to pull out quite the gap here from Alessandro DeTulio, as he's almost a full second coming up now, as DeTulio is actually trying to close that gap in as it goes up and down quite quickly. I can't even keep up with it.
This next turn here is very, very crucial, as a good exit from here will carry you enough momentum all the way through the rest of the bus stop here. This is the fastest portion of the track here, so you want to have a good exit to carry as much speed as possible through the rest of the turn. Another thing that you want to do is to trail behind another driver here to take advantage of the aero toe. Alessandro DeTulio does look like he may be just slightly too far for that, but they go through the bus stop just clean, and he catches some good ground on R.C. Anderson, enough to maybe consider to get an aero toe right now as they go through NASCAR's 3 and 4 and on their way to the start-finish trial.
jump on board here with Tulio as he's following Anderson. We're just going to watch on board, see what kind of line he does, see what kind of line he takes.
Turn 1 is always a tricky one here because it's a very awkward entry point here. Tulio is sliding his way through the inside here, but perfect entry as he nearly nicks the inside tires. Now he cuts through the chicane here.
Looks like he made that P1 stick just for now. Let's see how long he can hold off Anderson for. Looks like we've got an accident here with George DiPiero. Let's see what happened here. Looks like it might have happened a little bit earlier on.
Oh, he just... I think he might have had some snap oversteer there. Very unfortunate there.
Yeah, it looks like it just all happened there on its own, unfortunately. Looks like he's got that 4GT back on track, though, which is good to see that.
And I believe we're following now Emil Fittipaldi Jr. So I'll take a look and see where he is currently. In third, sitting in third. We've got some black flags coming in now. Go to Luke Bohola and Eduardo Pecorini. Unfortunate for our race 1 winner.
And Tulio with an almost, actually just crossed over 2.5 second gap here to RC Anderson, as they are 2.5 laps into their race. Alessandro's probably got to be feeling a tremendous amount of pressure from that other Ferrari of RC Anderson.
RC Anderson closing up the gap. Last time I checked, it was an 0.8 of a gap here. It's now shrunk to half a second as they come to the start-finish line. Tulio feeling the pressure as they go through turn 1. Oh, and it seems like Anderson overdid it here as he goes slightly wide here, but still has some momentum as he goes through turns 2 here. Did not lose any speed here as he tries to intimidate Tulio by flashing his headlights. Using an old IMSA racing tactic here to intimidate the drivers here, to distract them with the flashing headlights in their rearview mirror. Assuming Tulio, of course, does have his settings turned on to render the headlights.
Yeah, that's something that you're going to see a lot of drivers trying to use, and it catches drivers. It can catch you off guard, or it can just definitely put you in a situation where you're having to pay attention to those lights. And given at the fast rate of speed that some of these cars are moving at, it's very easy to miss a corner because of not having your eyes in the right position.
They cut through Bobby Ross. There's some lap traffic as they come into the bus stop. Hard braking zone into the quick left, right. going off track there and hitting a cone. Let me check and see how many event incidents do we have per driver here. And the cleanest driver on track so far is actually Mo Fittipaldi. And I say actually because he has 0 points, something that is very difficult to do in iRacing thus far, with about halfway to go. Not dropping a wheel, not hitting anybody.
Always great to see when a driver is able to keep it absolutely clean and not even with a 1x, because even, at least for me, I know that even with just a 1x, it's not the same. It's not a 100% clean race, but so definitely with a 0x at the end of the race, it's a great feeling.
Anderson's got Bobby Ross on his tail. Some more lap traffic. Bobby Ross is currently. Let's see if I can find him. .19th. Oh, we've got our graphic back. Finally. As we continue to cover the rest of the track here, someone was asking about difficulties. The bus stop is definitely another one of those turns that will make and break you. Very difficult entry into that turn will ruin your races. There's lots of runoff area for to the grass, and will potentially put you into the wall. And on the bright side, though, if you do take that turn correctly, it will, same as the previous turn I mentioned, will carry lots of momentum to the rest of the start-finish line here and into turn.
Yeah, I agree. Those two turns are very tricky, but in terms of what can happen, I think it's already been proven, and I think the drivers can really prepare for it.
Got another black flag coming in for Cesar Lapointe.
And as we move on, looks like the driver information unfortunately is still incorrect there, but we're on board the Ferrari now with Francisco Cracia running in P15. He's up about 10 positions from his starting position tonight. And our leaders here, Alessandro De Tullio, 5.5 laps, 5.5. I can't even talk tonight, Anthony. About 5.5 laps into his race tonight, with quite a comfortable lead of almost 3 seconds here to RC Anderson. Let's see if De Tullio can continue to extend that gap out. What do you think?
Quite an improvement for De Tullio, as do remember about a month ago in Sebring International Raceway, he said he would never drive the Ferrari ever again, and here he is sitting comfortably in the lead in front of a part-time IndyCar driver.
I think that the Ferrari has been quite the surprising car, especially in the GTE category. I know after doing quite a bit of setup changes in my physical gear, specifically in the pedal, that GTE started to make a lot more sense. So I know as these drivers continue to learn and continue to tune their physical gear, I think that the cars themselves start taking on a new life, and they that kind of driver's curiosity takes over, and they want to give them another chance.
Yeah, you do make up a good point. Every car is different, as the Ferrari will oversteer a little bit more favorably than, say, the AMG SLS, AMG GT.
Yeah, and these cars being GT3 and being equipped with ABS, there's not so much of that issue where you can stomp on the brake pedal and have your fronts lock up. But in the GTE category, where there is no ABS, and it got to a point where you would just graze the brake pedal and you would have a major lockup. But after doing quite a bit of tuning to the pedal, you can get rid of that. So it's it's not so much down to the car itself, but it's also down to how you can tune everything within the simulator, which is great to see that we all have that option available to us.
We've got some fan love coming in from YouTube chat here. Big H is gracing us with his presence once again, cheering on Jordan Hernandez, who's currently sitting in 10th. And we've got Wolf Biff Odyssey cheering on Bobby Ross, who's currently sitting in 19th.
And Bobby Ross looks like he's rocking a whole bunch of the iRysa branding on that Mercedes AMG tonight.
Supporting the local squad. And as I'm saying here in our graphics, on my graphics here, we are on the the last lap. It's a couple moments ago here.
It looks like DeTullio is about halfway done, or halfway away, 0.5 of a lap away from his victory tonight.
And we've got some info coming in from race control. Cesar Lapointe was disqualified. Very more or less I was gonna say chaotic, but other circumstances can come up above. But what I'm noticing here, or maybe just for your graphic once again, most of the drivers from 7th down are a lap down.
I think that it might just be the graphic on that end right now. I wouldn't trust that graphic. It's been acting up all night, so I wouldn't be trusting that at the moment.
It is the first time we have this issue here. We've done about 20 races so far.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Again, my apologies to the viewers. We'll get that taken care of and fixed for the next one.
But in the meantime, your winner for race 2 is Alessandro Di Tullio, with R.C. Anderson coming around here to finish in 2nd, followed by Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. for Frankie Barroso, and George Piero here finishing off the top 5 in the 4GT.
And Di Piero rocking that vintage livery on that 4GT. I think the heritage of racing, I think it's an important part of everything that we do, and I think that it's something that a lot of the drivers are really passionate about. So great to see them there, and great to see them all kind of doing some celebratory flashing of lights there. And we've got R.C. Anderson doing some donuts here in that Ferrari. It looks pretty cool there with the amount of lights and just the
Why
dark
not?
the dark lighting of the Daytona track.
Why not? There's another car right next to him doing it as well.
Oh, there we go.
Go, Jesus! I don't know. Some chaos is ensuing here. We're finishing up. Everyone's here a little excited. We've got a nice parade lap here with Frankie and George doing a proper in lap. It's one of my favorite things about iRacing. It does give you the option to do that when you cross the finish line. It is not over. In fact, you can take a nice little cool off lap.
That's absolutely true. I think that little detail went unnoticed in many of the sims prior to getting into iRacing. Um, there's even just a small detail like that could play a big role in the immersion factor. And looks like we've got a great run from all our drivers here tonight as we're wrapping up here our second session tonight for round 2 here at Daytona International Speedway of the iRysa GT3 Championship.
Overall, good race here. I'm excited for the rest of the season to ensue. The GT3s are always a favorite for both the drivers and the fans. Everybody loves speed, and that's exactly what we got here.
Absolutely, and it's been great being able to continue the Rysa tradition and continue to be able to um, partake and be part of that Rysa family.
And is your ending graphic able to be pulled up, Jose? I'm just a little confused what's going on.
No, it looks like unfortunately all of the race information and looks like this graphic here that you're seeing now is just
Delayed. No problem.
yeah, it's just delayed here. Where unfortunately we're gonna have to do a reset or something on the graphic, but looks like it's gonna be about it for us.
Yep. Yeah, regardless, it was good action tonight here, and I'm sure some more great action will come about in the next race. Until next time, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jose. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.
Excuse me. Good night, everyone.